Yes, sir. We're ready.
All right, great. Welcome, everyone, to today's meeting of the Health, Education, Neighborhoods, Parks, Arts, and Rivers Committee. It is 1 o'clock, and this meeting is called to order. I would like to note that the audio for this meeting is broadcast live on the internet at www.lacity.org/government/follow meetings with an S /council-committee-meetings. The live audio can also be heard at 213-621-2489 or 818-904-9450 or 310-471-2489 or 310-547-2489. Members of the public who would like to offer a public comment on any of the items listed on the agenda should call 1-669-254-5252 and use meeting ID number 161-015-2287. That's 161-015-2287. Then press pound and press pound again when prompted for participant ID. Once you're admitted into the meeting, please press *9 to request to speak. Mr. Clark, can you please call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Councilmember David Drew,
Present.
Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell,
Present.
Councilmember Curtin D. Price Jr.
Present.
Everyone is present, sir. You have a quorum.
Great, thank you. And colleagues, at this point, I'd like to open it up for public comment and remind those who have called in to please state your name and the items you would like to speak on when you are prompted to do so. So, Andrew, you want to take it over?
Caller, please state your name and which items you would like to speak on. Caller with the last four digits, 5666. Please state your name and which items you would like to speak on.
Hello?
Yes, please state your name and which items you would like to speak on.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to call in instead. I didn't want to speak on anything. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you. Mr. Chair, we are finished with public comment. Mr. Chair, you are on mute.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you. So, no public comment today. So, colleagues, I do want to first recognize that we have Mark Villasenor with us today for his appointment to the Los Angeles City County Native American Indian Commission. So I want to hold item 3 and take the remaining items on consent. But before we do that, I would like to say how pleased I am to have 3 NEA grants before us. Historically, the arts have helped us make a sense of what's going on around us, helping us imagine new futures, and often acting as a catalyst for social change. At this point in our history, when we're grappling with the challenges that COVID-19 has created for traditional education and the turmoil, confusion, and questions created by longstanding social and economic inequality, it is the arts that have become an important lifeline to help us keep connected and an important window into who we are. In every way we can, we must uplift the arts and our working artists who do so much to uplift our world. So with that said, colleagues, are there any objections to taking items 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 on consent?
No objections. No objections.
Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, can you please take a roll?
Certainly, sir. Councilmember David Drew,
Yes.
Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell,
Aye.
Councilmember Curtin D. Price Jr.
Aye.
All the items are approved, sir.
Great. Let's move on to item number 3. Daryl, do you want to read that into the record, please?
Yes, sir. Item number 3, a communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Mr. Mark Villasenor to the Los Angeles City County Native American Indian Commission.
Thank you for that. And Mark, thank you so very much for being with us today. I want to first give you a few minutes to introduce yourself, maybe talk about why you hope to serve on the Los Angeles City and County Joint Native American Indian Commission, as well as some of the experience that you will bring to this commission.
Okay, well, thank you very much. My name is Mark Villasenor, and my will to serve on this is the same thing that drove me to serve as vice president of my tribe currently. It's a drive that I think that Native Americans need more representation, specifically California natives, and more importantly, people of my tribe, the Fernandino, one of the 3 tribes that are historically here in Los Angeles County. So I think that's what prompted me to join the commission. And I feel that, I have a certain skill set, a certain knowledge. I've been working through my tribal priesthood, getting to know an understanding of, my culture, my arts, and everything in that capacity. But also, I have a willingness to want to help. I always have had that willingness, but I think that moving into this capacity allows me to do so to a greater extent. And then some of my experience, I decided to first join government for my tribe back in 2014. And so it really changed my thoughts and perceptions of what government is. Because from the outside, you assume one thing. And once you go in, it's a completely different thing, which I expect much to be like going into the commission. You expect one thing, and then when you get there, it's a totally different understanding. But I find it to be an exciting experience, definitely, and a great opportunity. Not only that, in my role as vice president of our tribe, I've had to make decisions that had to help make decisions that fundamentally shaped the way our tribe is and is going to be in the future. Now, some of these outcomes are not yet realized, and we don't know if said decisions will make or break the tribe, but these decisions are made at a crucial level, at a critical level, while thinking of the best intentions of my people at the time that they're made. So I feel that big decisions aren't that difficult of a process for me. I understand the severity. I understand what it means to have consequence in these decisions that are being made. So I feel like that also benefits myself and just a person's understanding of what's on the line in these votes. Now, some of these decisions can be innocuous little decisions, and then some can fundamentally change the landscape of which you're living in for the next, generation or decades, whatever, what have you. But I feel that my experience has led me to what I'm trying to achieve now in my life, and then also what I hope to achieve on the commission. And I believe that moving forward, I think we'll have a good understanding and grasp of what it means to be a native in an urban environment, seeing as I was born and raised here. I was born in Mission Hills. I still live in Mission Hills. And I think it's good to have that perspective of a California native who's from the city, from the area, who now lives in the area and wants to give back to his greater native community. Not just myself, not just my tribe, but not just the Gabrielino, not just the Chumash, but also every other tribe, be it Dene, Comanche, Choctaw, want to be that representative for those people as well. Be that voice that they can count on moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for that, Mark. And I have a few comments, and I really want to thank you for your service. But I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell, because I know he knows you. You guys know each other well, and actually, he's the one recommending you. So I want Mr. O'Farrell to chime in first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, as you all can see, Mark has a wisdom far beyond his years, and it's that type of earned perspective just through life that will benefit this commission greatly. And I think many of you have seen Mark in the last several years. He was part and parcel of the whole movement to create Indigenous Peoples Day and eliminate Columbus Day from the city's administrative code. He's been part of all of the celebrations, the cultural celebrations, the annual powwow, very involved with the commission in a secondary way for many, many years. So he's stepping into a situation that he knows really well, has developed a great perspective, and just has the generosity of spirit that I think will benefit this body. And we're working with them as never before on a lot of issues, especially in this time of reckoning across the country with the monuments that are falling and the social justice issues that have really are on the front burner just across the board in the Black and Native American and immigrant community. And Native Americans can offer a very, very unique and fundamental perspective on the historical record of this country. And so this commission is going to be more important than ever, I think, to inform and advise this body, us, the city council and city leaders, on helping to shape our approach to some of the social justice reform issues that we're working on in this council. And Mr. Rue, your predecessor, Mr. LaBonge, always used to say about people that that he admired. He'd say they've got a good head and they've got a good heart, and they make things happen with their hands. And I think that describes Mark Villaseñor really, really well. I think, Mark, I just pay tribute to you because of your willingness to step up, and I think the timing couldn't be better for you, for the commission, for where you are in your life and development and growth. And as I said, your knowledge and perspectives just far exceed your age. That's going to benefit everyone. So I am very grateful that you're stepping up as well, and I couldn't be more proud to nominate you for this commission. Thank you.
Great. Councilmember Price, do you want to add anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I just want to second that nomination. I haven't met Mark yet in person, but look forward to working with you, Mark. Your reputation precedes you. We know you'll make an outstanding contribution, not just to this committee, but to the city, and we just appreciate your willingness to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, and I too want to chime in and say thank you so very much. And and I also want to thank Councilmember O'Farrell because he really ushered through when it comes to all the recent movement and progress when it comes to the Native American community. It's Councilmember O'Farrell who's been a champion on the City Council, and I know you couldn't do it alone. It required community leaders like yourself. So we're very, very thankful. But I did have one question because I was curious because I understand that you did work for the United States Census as a partnership assistant with their Native American outreach team.
Yes.
There's a lot riding on this census. I mean, there's a lot riding this year. I mean, issue after issue. But the census is critical. I mean, it is the beginning fundamental building block of everything. So can you talk to us a little bit about your work there and the insights you've gleaned from that experience?
Yes, not a problem. And thank you, sirs, for your support. But while I worked at the census, I was a partnership assistant for the Native American component here in Los Angeles City and County. Our efforts were designed to count and administer the census to the Native American population here within Los Angeles County and City, because of the historic distrust in the government and the underrepresentation of Native Americans within the United States Census. The reason why it's so important is that for Native Americans specifically, since we're so undercounted and the funds that are available all come from a singular pot, now we have to define ourselves strictly only as Native American. Now we could be mixed, but we cannot categorize ourselves as mixed race being Native American and those funds being allocated for Native American purposes. We have to specifically say we're Native American only in order for that funding to be appropriated for usage in, Title VI funding, Indian education funding, Indian health. All these programs that are designed for the Native American community have to be specifically said so on your application as for the census. That is why it was very important for us to go out there and make sure that people knew that clarification, because a lot of people were like, oh yeah, I'll mark down I'm Native American and I'm Latino, or I'm Native American and African American, Native American and white, or Native American and Asian, whatever have you. we had to make sure that we had that clarification out there. We put a lot of hours in going to all the community gatherings, all the events, many a weekend. At every powwow, during powwow season, we were there from setup to the end of day. And I don't know if you know about powwows, but they go from pretty early in the morning to pretty much almost midnight, when it's all said and done. So we put in a lot of hours, we put in a lot of time to make sure that we got our community specifically out to vote. And it's not just, the Native American community that it's so important to get counted. It's every community. Every program that supports, Asian Americans, African Americans, immigrant communities, the indigenous community. It's vastly important that they all get counted, because this funding appropriation is what can make or break the services that people enjoy today. So if that count is very underrepresented, the people that need the services and want the services can get those services. But if it's not, then they're at risk of not being able to have those services, which could lead to a detriment in their lives and to the lives of their families and the greater community as a whole, just from the effects of not signing on to a 10-question census. So it's very important that, you do the census. And if you're asked to do the big one, it can be an issue, can be long and tedious, but you have to do it. It's very important that the United States Census gets that information. And that's my experience with the United States Census.
Thank you for that. And, I didn't even think about that. So they can't pick other. They have to pick Native American. Wow.
Yes,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much for that. And again, thank you for your service. And thank you for not just your service, your future service in the commission, but everything you've done for your community and for Los Angeles, and helping lead the way for a lot of the social justice and racial justice movements that we're seeing all around the nation. So thank you so very much for that. I think all my colleagues have spoken. So I think there's no more further questions and comments. So I want to recommend that we approve this item and move Mr. Villasenor appointment along to the full city council. Any objections?
None.
Great. Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, can you take the roll? Vote.
I'm sorry.
Take the vote. You're on
I'm sorry, I'm muted. Yeah. Councilmember David Drew,
Yes.
Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell,
Aye.
Councilmember Karen D. Price Jr.
Aye.
The matter is approved, sir.
Thank you, sir. And this item is approved. And congratulations, Mark. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Now, Mr. Clerk, do we have any other additional items or business to take care of?
The desk is clear, sir.
Thank you. So, colleagues, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.